Welcome to the Gypsy Nurses Fall 22 Virtual Conference. We are so happy you could join us yet again for another educational yet fun few days. This year, we will be focusing on a new season of travel nursing. We will have 9 travel healthcare industry experts giving their insights and advice on how you can turn a new leaf in travel nursing, whether you're new to the adventure or have hiked a mountain or two of assignments already. All of these sessions will be on demand on the gypsynurse.com. You can find these events by coming up to the event tab and clicking on demand events. So you can watch this any place, anytime, any assignment, any location. They will be there for you. While you're at the gypsynurse.com, be sure to become a registered member and join our online community, where when you sign up, you'll be able to sign up for job alerts, content alerts, and even event alerts, as well as receive discounts on CEUs, car rentals, and on the infamous TravCon 2023 tickets, which don't forget to save the date for next year's largest in-person travel healthcare conference in beautiful Las Vegas, September 17th through the 20th, 2023 at the Paris. We hope to see most of you that are watching in person next year, so that way we can put some faces to some names and get to really know our community in person. We'd also like to thank our sponsor, Nurse First, for being this year's virtual conference sponsor. We would like to take a minute to learn a little bit more about Nurse First, so enjoy. Nurse First is a travel staffing agency that is focused on putting nurses first so nurses can focus on what matters most. Nurse First is different because the agency is founded and staffed by former nurses, so they know what you need. They are committed to creating a culture of agency with nurse, not agency versus nurse. Nurse First takes you where you want to go in your life and career. How? Nurse First promotes trusting partnerships among travelers and staff through genuine advocacy and transparency. This means telling you everything, even the information you didn't know you needed. With a team dedicated to advocating for nurses, travelers can find success anywhere they go and the assignments of their dreams. Nurse First Travel Agency founder and CEO, Jeremy Camiso, is our conference keynote speaker this year because Nurse First is leading the change for a positive employment culture for travel nurses. Nurse First encourages travel nurses to take charge of their own work schedule to best fit their lifestyle and family needs. Nurse First turns travel nurse staffing opportunities into incredible employment experiences. Learn more about this travel agency at nursefirsttravel.com. I'd now like to introduce sound healing specialist Chelsea Renner. This will be an intentional self-care session in which you will be guided through a sound healing meditation. She will review the importance of self-care practice for healthcare providers, especially working in high-stress conditions, and how to incorporate your self-care practice to relieve daily stress and anxiety. So thank you so much, Chelsea, for joining us. As you know, the healthcare community has a lot of stress and has been through a lot in the past 2 years. So it's really great for you to come on and share your wisdom.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel very special and so much gratitude for you and the Gypsy Nurse for having me. This is such a topic that's like near and dear to my heart. And I also feel like it's just so needed by all of our healthcare workers right now. So, yeah. All right, cool. Let's get into it. I have a couple of slides then. So, burnout to balance for travel nurses. Who am I? Chelsea Renner. I'm a registered nurse. I'm the founder of Aligned and Free. My Instagram handle, Aligned and Free, as well as website is there as well for additional resources. What we do at Aligned and Free, we empower high achievers with the tools and the knowledge to heal their nervous systems and also restore inner freedom and peace that they deserve. So we do, we'll go back. We do retreats, we do group events, we do corporate wellness, and also private sessions. I am a certified sound healer, Reiki master, breathwork facilitator. I am a mental health and self-care advocate. And when I am not working, one of my favorite passions is traveling the world. I love to grow and experience life as I believe it should be. So a little bit about me and my history then. When I was in high school, I was diagnosed with an inflammatory illness, which has basically affected every day of my everyday life, from hormones to metabolic imbalances. So that has, yeah, like I said, affected my everyday life. So self-care and mindfulness practices have been such an important role for my success and just getting me to those next levels that I feel like I need to succeed in life. When I was younger then, how I became a nurse, obviously I wanted to help people, as most of us do. Came into travel nursing, loved it so much. I love the fact that we can negotiate our contracts, we can be on a contract and then also take time off. It really promoted that work-life balance I really feel like we all need and deserve. So I've been a travel nurse since 2014 then. However, coming into the pandemic, we no longer were allowed to travel, and nurses were needed more than they ever were in the history of the world, probably. At least since we've been here, right? And so I was experiencing a lot of really negative emotions and feelings, and my body was like experiencing some really wild symptoms. So I sought out help. And so with the help of a psychiatrist, along with some other healthcare professionals, they were able to diagnose me with anxiety, depression, and PTSD. And the symptoms I was having, although they were in severity, they also were very similar to the ones that I hear so many of my other colleagues and friends complain about. So I think self-care is important for us because although we're holding this like massive space for others and our patients and whatever healing modality we're in, it's often that we're the last to take care of ourselves. So I think it's so important that we fill our cup up first. That way we're able to give to others and our friends and our family in the way that we want and the way that they deserve as well. So recovery then, again, back to the mindfulness practices. These are something that I have been utilizing every day, just checking in with myself, experiencing all these symptoms from my condition. So yeah, let's move on. We'll do a little science review, which is probably something you guys are familiar with, but it's always good to return back to the nervous system and be reminded of how it works on a cellular level. So we have the autonomic nervous system then, which is made up of two components. We have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic nervous system is our fight or flight nervous system. This is the one that signals your body's response to danger or stress. Some neurotransmitters involved are epinephrine, norepinephrine, and acetylcholine. Some of the effects that the sympathetic nervous system has on the body are enlarged pupils, increased heart rate, as well as slows digestion. All disease can be attributed to some form of chronic stress. Chronic stress also leads to inflammation in the body. Chronic inflammation contributes to cardiovascular disease, cancer, type 2 diabetes, as well as other conditions. The parasympathetic nervous system is our nervous system in which is referred to the rest or digest nervous system. This is the nervous system that signals to your body to rest and relax. So our vagus nerve accounts for 75% of the parasympathetic nervous system. The effects that the parasympathetic nervous system has on the body are constricts pupils, lowers heart rate, as well as promotes digestion. Ways to promote your parasympathetic nervous system is intentional breathing, sound healing, and meditation. What is sound healing? So I am so excited to share my sound healing practice with you. This is something that I actually stumbled upon during the initial phases of COVID. I was working as a nurse, and my first sound bath, which is what you will sometimes hear sound healing referred to then, is when it's essentially a massage for the mind, right? So who loves massages? Probably everyone if you're watching this. So this is really a state of relaxation, recovery, and although it seems very passive, there's so much internal healing that's happening simultaneously that you may not be aware of when you're experiencing these sound healing sessions. So essentially how sound healing works then, I'll go over some basic energy knowledge with you. Resonance is when the vibrational frequency of two objects fall into sync with one another. So the vibrational frequency of a stronger resonance influences another by taking over through a process called entrainment. This means that a stronger vibration will tend to entrain a weaker vibration into the same vibration. So this can be relative to you if you have ever went on a hike, if you have ever taken a walk through nature, if you love going to the beach, the sound of the waves. Anytime you feel that sense of calm and relaxation, that is kind of this process of entrainment and how it works. And the same works for negative frequencies as well. Perhaps maybe you feel some anxiety before you go into work, or nervousness or palpitations. It also, as it works with healing, it also works in the negative aspect as well. So that's just something to keep in mind. The history of sound healing. So quartz crystal, which is what the majority of sound healing instruments are used and made from. This has been around since the times of Atlantis. In 1896, the connection between sound healing was discovered when American physicians found that certain types of music improved thought processes. Sound therapy began to emerge after World War II in the late 1940s, when it was used as a part of the rehabilitation treatment for soldiers experiencing anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder. So, sounds familiar. Some of the benefits sound healing can offer is that it lowers stress, encourages better sleep, increases focus, promotes feelings of calm and relaxation. It also reduces the risk for chronic conditions, illnesses, and disease. Now, this isn't a cure by any means, but it is a very important process of self-care as far as getting ourselves from that sympathetic nervous system where we're always running around with a monkey mind, and putting us back into this healing state, which is our parasympathetic nervous system. So, are you ready to relax? If you loved any of those benefits and you are ready to relax, I would love to share this practice with you. So, what I can recommend, this practice does work best if you have headphones or AirPods. Then you can just put those in now. Make sure you're wearing some comfortable clothes, and hopefully in a nice, quiet, relaxing environment where you can just fully surrender and let go.
Awesome. And before we get all relaxed and comfy and everything, we do have some questions from our community. And then I have some questions too as you were going through. So I don't know if people notice, but disease is spelled with a dash. And I know myself, it's intentional. So when you spell dis-ease, what do you mean by that when you spell it that way?
Yeah, that's such a great question. So I spelled it that way more so for it. It's a reminder for me, as well as I kind of want other people to kind of maybe reframe the way they look at disease, versus when people think of disease, it may have like a negative connotation to it or a diagnosis. So I feel like a lot of people, once they are proposed a diagnosis, then it kind of gives them, it not only validates them, right, but it kind of gives them almost like an excuse. Well, I'm suffering from, well, I have this condition. And although all of that is absolutely true, I don't think it should ever take away of the fact that our bodies can heal ourselves if we're putting them in the right environments, right? That goes just awareness and intentionality, I think, is why I use that word, especially for myself. So does that make sense? So if we're more intentional with our actions and our environments and the choices we're making on a day-to-day life, versus just well, this is how it is, this is what I have, and this is how it's going to be the rest of our life. I think the power of choice, which all of us have control over, is a very powerful tool. And yeah, I think we all are very, very capable of healing our bodies.
Oh, definitely. And I think too, from what I've seen too, is like when you look at it like that, your body's in distress. And so that's usually what I've seen too, is like the deceased is like broken apart for, you're uneasy.
It's exactly what it is. It's the opposite. It's literally like dis-ease. You're not in a state of alignment or like peacefulness. You're in a state of distress, and it also means maybe you don't have a diagnosis or disease, or you're not labeled a disease. That doesn't mean you suffer from dis-ease. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is relevant to everyone.
Definitely. Christina from our community had a question. She said, in the past, when I've attempted to meditate, it seems almost like my mind speeds up. Is there a way to work around that and calm my mind?
I love this question. So this is not atypical at all for most individuals. Especially at this day and age. I think our minds are reprogrammed to almost be constantly thinking, be constantly, on the lookout. Social media and the internet and just this hustle culture that our American society promotes so often, it influences our brains literally to be in that state of constant thinking. And, the rate of adult ADHD is like higher than it's ever been. And it's everything we do and consume is really influencing our brains to work in this state of just more than it should, right? So I think it's important to like really bring it back and continue those practices that slow everything down, mindfulness, meditation. Frequency for me, that's one of the main reasons I was attracted to sound bowls, because the power of sound bowls literally influences our brain waves. This is science. So it influences our brain waves from a state of beta, which is our waking state. It's the state when we're doing our daily activities, we're at work. So when we're experiencing a sound bath and we're experiencing these healing frequencies, they're literally rewiring our brainwaves into deeper states, into the subconscious, into alpha and theta waves. Then, so those are the brain waves that you experience more creativity, deeper subconscious levels of the mind. Then, and maybe sometimes you even fall asleep. Oftentimes, people fall asleep in sound baths. That's perfectly fine. You're still receiving all of the like incredible like healing modalities of the practice.
Definitely. And you mentioned, frequencies and hertz and too, and I've been seeing a lot too that like the certain music that you listen to is on a frequency that does not go well with your body. Like obviously the sound bowls, like they're gonna, heal and everything, but there's certain music even on the radio that's going to kind of like disrupt I've been there where it's just a song that keeps going on, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why am I so anxious right now? And I found out that it was just, a lot of times it's the frequency.
That's so, so true. And it's so powerful because I don't feel like a lot of people know that, but it's very valid. The music you listen to has a direct correlation on like how it affects you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because if you're listening to low vibrational music, which I think that's a lot of what the mainstream music is, like you think you're getting pumped up for work and then you're like, "Oh, why am I so anxious?"
That's so true. And another good point to note on that as well is like what we're hearing through the music, right? So what we're hearing through whatever music we listen to is just reaffirming that into our brains. So it's all about just intentionality and just like being very aware of like again your choices and like what you're feeding your mind.
Definitely. And we have one more question before you get started with the bowls. Leah asks, how do you recommend drowning out electronic noise in the complex multitasking lives we live to make room for meditation? I always get distracted.
Another good question. Again, a commonality I think everyone experiences. I think being very intentional early in the mornings, as well as late at night. So think of the hour when you're waking and then the hour right before you're sleeping. So those two times are very important times because those times are when our brain is most neuroplastic. So if we're trying to incorporate any new habits or routines for ourselves, it's important to do so during those times. So in the morning, if you're attracting like a more state of calm and just peacefulness amongst yourself because you just feel like very stressed and chaotic, I would recommend not looking at your phone the first thing in the morning, not checking your email the first thing. Maybe drink your water, do some breath work practices, and just journal if that's a practice for you. Whatever you need to do, and it can include those things, but it also can be inclusive to whatever you want it to be that is important and that works for you in the morning. The intention there would be to just have less distraction so you can be more focused and productive throughout your day. The same thing at night. Especially if you are a healthcare worker and you are exposed to fluorescent lights 12, 13, 14 hours of your day, you're probably already going to have a very difficult time to get to sleep. So again, right before you go to sleep, stay off your phone, like cut it off an hour, 2 hours, whatever is good for you. Maybe take to a book or maybe even listen to these meditative healing frequencies is something that is really helpful for me. So just being very intentional about the time earliest in the morning and then the time before you go to bed as well. I think that is really helpful. And if you do that consistently, I think you'll notice a positive pattern in your mind and shifting of states.
That's great. That's great advice. Yeah, I've always heard that too. Is like, don't watch it before bed. Don't watch it in the morning. So solid advice, Chelsea. Thank you so much. Well, I'm going to let you take over and give us the calming that we all need. So thank you so much, Chelsea, for all of that. And I will let you do your thing.
Okay. Thank you so much. See you on the other side.
All right.
All right. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for showing up for yourself. So how we're going to get started then, I want you to find a quiet place where you can rest comfortably, either in a seated or laying position. Make sure you have your headphones or earbuds in. That will work best for this practice. So go ahead and rest in your seated or lying position, whichever is most comfortable for you. And I want you to take a big inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Just like that again, inhaling through the nose, filling up, exhaling through the mouth. One more time, filling up through the nose,
exhaling through the mouth. Continuing with the breath. Following the flow. Coming back to your breath, feeling the rise and the fall of your stomach. Coming back into your body. Noticing any subtle differences of how you're feeling now from when you first began the practice. Taking any subtle movements that feel good to you. Maybe it's swaying your head from side to side. Wiggling your fingers. Wiggling your toes. Doing anything that feels good to your body. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. Welcome back. Take as much time here as you need. This practice is just for you. I hope you found it valuable, and I hope you can carry this piece with you the rest of your day. Be sure to drink lots and lots of water. Thank you, Gypsy Nurse, for having me, and have a great day.